Good evening. This is Daily Recall on April 20th, 2026. My name's Tom Stoukas, coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario. Hope everybody's having a nice Monday night. There's not much going on in Canada. In the Canadian news, I don't know, it seems slow for some reason. Also in the Iran war that's still going on, there's a ceasefire. I thought the ceasefire was done today, but it's still, I guess it's done Wednesday. So who knows what's going to happen. All sorts of stuff. Like they said they're doing peace negotiations or extend the ceasefire. I don't know. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be they're going to start fighting again once the ceasefire is over. They've been pushing lots of boat warships there and cargo planes and troops. So I don't think they're going there for nothing. And I said before, the Israel wants to destroy Iran. That's their plan. Like that's what they consider a success. So if you believe that they're controlling the U.S. on this, means the negotiations are just like a smoke screen, prior to new fighting. We'll see. The gas at least went down. It was went down 10 cents because they cut the fuel excise tax till Labor Day, I think. So it's like 10 cents a liter. So that's good. But I'm sure it'll go up again soon. So get gas while you can, I guess. So the big story in Sarnia, I mean not in Sarnia, but in Canada, on the social media I saw today was the Canadian military. It says it hits a 30-year high in recruitment with 7,300 new members. And a lot of people are reacting to this. Because, they've been saying they want to rebuild the military. I don't know what happened to it, but they drove out a lot of soldiers with something happened in the Somalia mission and some kid got tortured. I don't know what happened, but they disbanded the whole unit, this airborne unit, and basically cast a whole shadow on the whole military. And since then, with their woke policies, they just keep driving it into the ground. Like nobody wants to join Canadian military. So now they say they're hitting new 30-year highs in recruitment. I'm gonna read this, and it's like, what are they building the military for? They want to bring 300,000 member force for the domestic security. Who knows? So they say they surpassed the target thanks to pay raises up to 20%, an $84 billion spending boost, and a new online application portal. That saw verified submissions jump to 44,000. New recruits include 17% women, 3.3% Indigenous people, 35%. See, they're still doing 35% racialized individuals, and a record 1,400 permanent residents. 1,400 permanent. So permanent residents basically somebody who's not a citizen, not Canadian citizen, basically. So out of those, so basically non-Canadians. While Defense Minister David McGuinty celebrated filling 70% of critical roles, Conservative MP James Bezin raised concerns about permanent residents recruits facing the language barriers and training and potential lower standard. So basically they're starting a trend of putting foreigners into the military. And basically they're still doing the woke stuff, like the tampons and all that. So they're not going to get any real soldiers. So they're trying to get all these foreigners now. And right now it's permanent residents. Like, I'm assuming the student guy on a student visa can't go join the military, but not yet. That's probably next. Like, the permanent resident thing is a step, and then the next step will be, okay, if you're here on your visa and you stay, you can join the military, and then to get citizenship. Who knows? They're starting to do that in other countries too, and even here you see them in the police forces too. People who can't even speak English, they're in the police department. So now they're going to be in the military. So let's just look at some of this reaction. I'm not a military guy. I'm not going to pretend to know about it, but there's a lot of reaction to it. So let's see. Corey Morgan. I can't think of a more dangerous idea than filling your armed forces with non-citizens. Okay. Here's Juno News. The Department of National Defense changes its screening process for permanent residents, leading to a sharp increase in recruitment. Over a 6-month period, 763 permanent residents were recruited, compared to just 177 over the previous 30 months. That's crazy increase. So I don't understand. It's changed its screening process so was permanent residents not allowed before to join the military? I think they were, but I'll find out. Let's see what this one's saying. Who's this?
3 permanent residents were recruited compared to...
All right, what's she saying here?
Our department made changes to the screening process for permanent residents, significantly increasing recruitment in this population. This was reflected in the report, which showed that over a 6-month period, 763 permanent residents were recruited compared to a 30-month period previously in which only 177 recruitments were achieved.
Okay.
Our department made changes to the screening process for permanent residents, significantly increasing recruitment.
All right, we're going to say, I want to see what changes they made. All right. What changes? All right. I say, what changes did they make in the screening process? The key change to the Canadian Armed Forces security screening process for permanent residence applicants occurred in 2024. The key change. Prior to that date, all permanent residents applying to join the CAF underwent the more rigorous screening. Before they underwent a more rigorous screening process reserved for applicants from or with ties to higher risk countries. Okay. This involved additional vetting steps, which caused significant delays. So the change that they made. So basically, if you're a permanent resident, you have to really show that you're not some sleeper agent or, spy, traitor. So they had this screening process. So starting in October 24, the Canadian Armed Forces aligned its screening for permanent residents with the process used for Canadian citizens. So basically, they're treated like Canadian citizens. Permanent residents who had not lived or visited higher risk countries no longer had to follow enhanced higher security screening pathways. Instead, they could proceed under the standard citizen-like process. This adjustment directly addressed bottlenecks in recruitment and led to a sharp increase in permanent residence enlistments. All right. So basically they lowered the security screening for permanent residents. That doesn't sound good. I'm sure that won't come back to bite us. Sorry. That's not good. Okay. The CAF has made other related modernization efforts, such as working with immigration, refugees, and citizens to potentially leverage existing immigration data for faster assessments. Okay. So basically, they're making it easier. October 24 alignment of screening tiers for low-risk permanent residents was the primary policy tweak tied to recruitment spike highlighted in the June one. So basically, they made it easier for permanent residents to apply to. So they could apply before to the military, but they had to go through a really more rigorous process than Canadians.
In the report, which showed that over a 6-month period,
the change they made in 2024 made it so
63 permanent residents were recruited.
So they're basically on par with Canadians for security clearance, which is kind of crazy. But so a guy from India who's a permanent resident, and he might be part of a gang or transnational gang or terrorist group, he can join our military and be considered a Canadian when they're doing the security clearance. And so they're not going to go look into his Indian past or what. I don't understand. So yeah, there's other problems like the language and competence, but that's kind of a big thing, security clearance for your military. Like your military's like, that's it. Doesn't get any more important than that for a country. If you go by through history, yeah, if you're getting attacked, unless you have a defense against it. So I wouldn't want to I don't think it's a good idea to base our defense on this kind of policy. James Bezin, he's this conservative MC, confirms the Canadian Armed Forces is recruiting immigrants who can't speak English or French. They wash out of basic training, then get housed in prop-up tent cities like full-blown refugee camp. Our military is turning into a housing project. Yeah. So they probably get all these like Indian guys going, and they just totally wash out of the basic training. I believe it. Like the Muslim guys, they might like the training for any future operations. But the Indian guys are probably washed out. And then I don't understand why they would give them housing if they couldn't hack the military. Maybe they'll get a second chance. Let's see what he says here. Oh.
Upon that, we're hearing that there's temporary shelters being built.
Yeah, the militaries.
That at Saint Jean right now, where we do all of our basic training, that there is a large number that are either voluntarily withdrawing or have failed to meet the standards. Some of them even on language. Some of the PRs are not functional in either French and or English. So
I don't understand that.
We're hearing that there's temporary shelters being built to house them. I thought that all of our forces that all those that have gone through basic training or in basic training, whether they voluntarily withdraw or not, that they're paid to go home, not to be stored up in temporary housing.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
And I'm hearing up to 13 units being built to house those that have not gotten through basic training.
So, yeah, I don't understand that. That's another weird thing. Not a very hardcore military. Oh, you suck, but you couldn't hack the military, but we're still gonna put you up. Okay. Here's Mark Carney. More women and men are signing up to serve in the Canadian Armed Forces. Last year, we set out to rebuild, rearm, and reinvest in our military. We're working fast and seeing results, including the highest number of new recruits in more than 30 years. So, yeah, they're really bragging about this. Okay, they're bragging. Look at this. Pretty soon it's going to be all permanent residents. But I think they'll expand it too. Like, right now it's permanent residents. But I could see them doing it like for even just temporary people. Say, hey, if you join the military, you'll get a PR card or whatever. I don't know. Why not? It's called a foreign army. I wonder who they're going to fight. Probably Canadians. So here's David McGuinty attributes the CAF's uptick of 7,300 new soldiers to gutting physical and medical standards, which he called a major improvement to the recruiting process. Not one reporter asked how many recruits were immigrants. Well, we know how much now.
Living, as the Prime Minister says, in a more... These new recruits, do they comment on the fact that we're living, as the Prime Minister says, in a more dangerous and divided world?
What I've heard in my roughly first year on the job from our new recruits and those who are applying is this. Young people and not so young people who are joining us are concerned. They want to join and they want to support what they have described to me regularly as a project. And the project they describe is Canada. They are very committed to this country. They want to see Canada remain secure and sovereign. Of course, the pay package, the standards that we brought to bear, the streamlining of the application process, the improvements we've made on the medical requirements, all of these things are beginning to bear fruit.
All right. So that's kind of the big thing today, I guess. Recruitment is up. What else? Any other good response? Here's Jeremy McKenzie. They're all migrants and have an average IQ of 75. Aren't you excited? Okay. So basically, the process for permanent residence is less scrutiny, less security checks. Okay. So highest recruitment in 30 years. I'm sure they'll be getting more foreign recruits. All right, let's keep going here. Here's another recruitment is up because you changed the screening requirements for foreign-born permanent residents to join, and few are completing basic training. Most are either quitting or being turfed because they can't speak English or French. So yeah, not much confidence in the Canadian military. All right, let's go on to more stuff. This is a fight broke out between Sikhs in a temple in Germany. Swords and knives were used. Turbans were removed. This is Germany? Jesus Christ. They're everywhere. Literally everywhere. And look at that. This is going to happen in Canada too.
So what was the breaking point for you?
Look at that. It's the Sikh. I thought the Sikhs were. So it's a big problem here in Canada because we're bringing in like millions of these Indians, and they all kind of hate each other. It's weird. It's a weird dynamic.
You know what? We're just getting started.
Let's see what he's saying. This is our defense minister. We're just getting started. Oh, that's all it was. Okay. Next. The other tidbit of news is according to Holly Doan here, foreigners in Canada on temporary permits will number 2 million 69,477 this year, even with quota cuts. Access to information records show. PM Mark Carney imposed cuts after complaining the system isn't working. So, I don't think that's including refugees. It's just temporary, like student visas, I guess. And here, I'm gonna find out. I'm relying on this grok too much, but sorry. All right, let's see. Who counts as temporary resident? I don't think it includes refugees. Oh, I guess I should hit enter. All right. Temporary residents are foreign nationals who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents, but have legal authorization to enter and remain in Canada for a limited time. All right. So, 3 main classes. Visitors, so tourists basically. Students, and foreign workers. Okay. So basically, not refugees. So you got 2 million temporary workers, over 2 million temporary residents in Canada. So that's like 5% of the population. Okay. So yeah, 5% of the population is a temporary residence. And that's, plus you got all the refugee claimants, which is hundreds of thousands, like at least like 500,000 probably. And then you got the permanent residents, the PR people that get PR every year, like 300,000 them.
So, do they comment on the fact that we're living, as the Prime
Just a
Minister
lot.
says, in a more dangerous and divided world?
What I've heard in my roughly first year on the job from our new recruits and those who are
Okay,
applying
we saw this already.
is this.
All right.
So why?
Here's a thing. I like to see the restaurant stuff. I'm always interested in the restaurant stuff, especially what's going on in the restaurant industry in Canada. This is a weird thing. So this guy got in a beef with.
And he said, "We don't sell tacos."
He got in a beef with A&W, and I guess they ended up calling the cops on this guy, the Indian workers at the A&W, and I don't know, they got his order wrong or something. I'll watch it, but the point is like, it's like, why would he be even going there? Like if he had a brain. So let's just watch this video.
Why are you not going to take my 2-team combo order?
I can call the cops and they can let you know.
Call the police.
So
Call the police.
you got all these Indian guys working. Why
He's gonna call the police because I ordered whatever 2-team combos, and he said, "We don't sell tacos." Yeah. And I said, "No, we just want 2-team combos." And then he turned around and did what? He said, "I'm not serving you."
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "That's all right. If you don't leave, I'll call the cops." Is that what just happened?
A&W.
Okay, so the cops came, 2 cops
They
came.
actually
An
called
old
the
friend of
cops,
mine- An old friend of mine showed up, he's a copper. Anyways, transit cops came. I'm with these 3 kids. He's from Ukraine. He's from Brazil. This other guy that's talking to my boy, he's from Van Tech. They watched what happened. When the cops were in the store talking with me to find out what happened, the East Indian manager, Ravil, I think his name is, he started yelling at the 3 kids, "Get out of the store, you're not allowed, we want to ban you." And the cops were like, "What's going on?" Anyways, we'll see where this goes. This is just part 1.
Oh.
2 weeks ago to the day and the night, the time, same restaurant, same everything. 2 migrant workers that were women that couldn't speak English, didn't know what to do with this guy hiding in the back. I came in and saved the day.
Okay, whatever.
Oh, what's going on?
This guy's got an obsession with, but the point is like, I don't even know why people even bother going to all these fast food places. Like, obviously they got the language issue, screwing up the orders, but probably the poison issue too. You've seen the food stalls in India, but seriously though. But the last time I ate at whoever still eats at these places, or gets them delivered. You get some stranger delivering your food in his nasty car. Like I can't figure it out. So sorry, I lost something here. And then lost some signal here, but I just think it's hilarious, that's all. Yeah, the last time I ate was at was it an A&W? I think it was an A&W. And it was on like one of those highway stops. And this was like years ago.
I'm going to take my 2-team combo order.
And I was about to bite into the burger. I don't usually eat fast food, but we're on the road, whatever. So, and it was a guy in the turban, so I thought, at least his hair will be all like contained. But I went to take a bite of the burger, and it was like a big hair right in the middle. So I didn't eat the burger. And I haven't been to a fast food, I don't think, since for eating. Okay. That's it. That's my story. But yeah, whoever keeps going to fast food and gets upset because they don't understand English or they've got their order wrong, is like, I don't know why you're going. Just cook at home or go to a restaurant you trust. Go to a restaurant, preferably an independent restaurant, and with a track record, and not one of these fast food. These fast food places are opening all the time now. There's gonna be a mass poisoning one of these days. There was a place in Ottawa where 6 people went for lunch, and 4 of them got violently sick. And the health inspector was like, they'd never seen anything so dirty, kitchen so dirty. So it was an Indian guy, of course. So I won't go. I'm not going to no restaurants unless I know exactly who's running it. That's the lesson. Okay. Here we're talking about some Sikh whatever month, some Sikh holiday, whatever. And now all these, even small towns in Ontario, are raising the Sikh flag. Isn't that crazy? And I guess the town says, oh, it's this flagpole's for groups and all that, but whatever. It's like they make you wait. It's like they make you do it just to show who's coming in charge, who's coming to take over. So there's temporary residents in Canada top 2 million, despite cuts. Yeah. And then another story. Doug Ford. He apologizes for using taxpayer money to purchase a jet for him to fly around in. It was like this fancy jet, $30 million jet. And once people found out about it, he ends up changing his mind because it looks bad that he bought a $30 million jet. He promises to sell back the jet at cost, citing now is not the right time to buy a jet. Doug then laments federal Liberals and the Ontario government and the Quebec government gets to fly around in jets, and no one bats an eye. Ford notes Canada is a large country and our leaders need to travel to visit remote communities. I believe Doug Ford wanted this jet so he could tour Canada in his bid to become the next leader of the federal Conservative Party. It makes sense. But yeah, he had to back out. Like he's using an OPP jet. He flies around Ontario with this OPP jet, but it's too small for him. He's too fat. Okay. And here's Chairman Mackenzie too. You guys are looking at this Canadian Army mass recruiting foreigners the wrong way. Ottawa intends to model a CAF whose primary purpose is to maintain control over a dissenting population, and they've chosen the cheapest and lowest quality human capital to build it from. Good. So, yeah, that's who's going to be coming to the door when the shit goes down. Some foreign dude, just like the cops. I don't even like cops, but at least if I'm going to get arrested, I want it to be a Canadian cop. So, that's it. Pretty slow day. So our next broadcast will be tomorrow, April 21st. And we'll see if things pick up until then. So, until tomorrow, have a nice night. Sorry, we had some technical problems tonight. And we'll see you tomorrow.